India. Here we bring you the exclusive top news headlines for our viewers today. The top 10 news of the day are: Lalu Prasad Yadav moves Jharkhand High Court over suspension of 5-year jail term in fodder scam. MEA teams from Poland, other bordering nations on way to help Indians evacuate by land. Russia-Ukraine war, Jaishankar, Blinken discuss developments in Kyiv and their repercussions. Embassy asks Indian nationals to head to bomb shelters amid attacks. Canada announces severe sanctions against Russian elites and banks. US President Joe Biden announces more sanctions, limits banks and high-tech imports. Joe Biden says swift sanction against Russia an option, but Europe not willing to act now. UK nationals living in the European Union can't keep pre-Brexit rights, advises ECJ. Russia-Ukraine war, UNSC to vote for resolution against Russia's actions in Ukraine. Russian forces press invasion to outskirts of Ukrainian capital Kyiv. Lalu Prasad Yadav moves Jharkhand High Court over suspension of 5-year jail term in fodder scam. Incarcerated RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad Yadav on Thursday moved to Jharkhand High Court challenging his conviction and sentence by a special CBI court pertaining to the withdrawal of Rs 139.5 crore from Duranda Treasury in the fodder scam case. Lalu Prasad Yadav has pleaded before the Jharkhand High Court for suspension of his sentence. In the matter, his counsel Devarshi Mandal said, RGD Supremo has been sentenced to 5 years of rigorous imprisonment and slapped a fine of Rs 60 lakh. MEA teams from Poland, other bordering nations on way to help Indians evacuate by land. In a significant update amid the Russia-Ukraine war, Union Minister AajTak informed that Ministry of External Affairs teams in the Embassy of India in Hungary, Poland, Slovakia and Romania are working to assist the evacuation of Indian nationals from Ukraine. The officials are currently on their way to the adjoining land borders with Ukraine. Jaishankar, Blinken discussed developments in Kyiv and their repercussions. Amid the Russia-Ukraine war, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday spoke with the United States Secretary of the State Antony Blinken to discuss the ongoing developments in Ukraine and their repercussions. Following the Blinken-Jaishankar call, the US State Department said in a statement that both diplomats discussed Russia's premeditated, unprovoked and unjustified attack on Ukraine. Additionally, Blinken stressed the importance of the strong collective response to condemn Russia's invasion and called for an immediate withdrawal and ceasefire. Embassy asks Indian nationals to head to bomb shelters amid attacks. Indian Embassy in Kyiv has issued another advisory for the Indian students and citizens residing in Ukraine as the conflict between Russia and Ukraine escalated to military operations in Ukraine on Thursday. Ukraine has announced a martial law amid the Russian attack, which has made travel difficult in the country. The embassy acknowledged the martial law and claimed that they are in contact with the local establishment to accommodate students who are stranded in Kyiv and need a place to stay. Canada announces severe sanctions against Russian elites and banks. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who has been vocal against Russia's aggression against Ukraine, has imposed fresh sanctions on Moscow on Thursday. The major development came after Trudeau attended a virtual G7 meeting with his US President Joe Biden. According to Trudeau, the sanctions will target 58 people and entities connected to Russia, including members of that country's elite and their families. Also, he said the sanctions will also act against several Russian banks, a major step to damage the country's economy. Meanwhile, he also had a telephonic conversation with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, where both the leaders discussed ways to penalize Russia for its provocative action against Kyiv. US President announces more sanctions, limits banks and high-tech imports. After Russia's President Vladimir Putin announced a military operation in Ukraine on Thursday that was in reality full-scale war against Ukraine, United States President Joe Biden lambasted his Russian counterpart, calling him the aggressor who chose this war and assuring that now Putin and his country will bear the consequences. Following this, Biden went on to announce more sanctions on Russia, confirming that it has been decided with full agreement of the European Union, NATO and G7 nations. Biden says swift sanctions against Russia an option, but Europe not willing to act now. In view of Russian President Vladimir Putin's full-blown military attack on Ukraine, US President Joe Biden on Thursday unveiled new sanctions against Moscow, further suggesting that removing Russia from the SWIFT international financial system is always an option. Accusing Putin of going forward with the premeditated attack, Biden said such action may be on the tables as the crisis unfolds. However, he noted that the move currently is not supported by his European counterparts. UK nationals living in European Union can't keep pre-Brexit rights, advises ECJ. In a major blow to the campaigners fighting to keep more of their rights after Brexit, the European Court of Justice has been advised that the Britons do not keep the advantages of the EU citizenship as the United Kingdom already left the bloc in 2020, The Guardian had reported. In an op-ed piece, Anthony Collins, an Irish Advocate General at the court, said British nationals who enjoy the benefits of union citizenship do not retain those advantages following the UK's withdrawal from the EU. The Luxembourg-based court that usually follows its advocates' advice is expected to issue a formal ruling on the case in June this year. UNSC to vote for resolution against Russia's actions in Ukraine. Following Russia's escalating military operations in Ukraine, the United Nations Security Council on Friday will vote on a resolution to the operation as listed on the UN schedule for the day. The final draft resolution will be voted for condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine in multiple regions and will further demand the withdrawal of all its troops from the country. Russian forces press invasion to outskirts of Ukrainian capital Kyiv. Russia pressed its invasion of Ukraine to the outskirts of the capital on Friday after unleashing airstrikes on cities and military bases and sending in troops and tanks from 3 sites in an attack that could rewrite the global post-Cold War security order. Explosions sounded before dawn in Kyiv as Western leaders scheduled an emergency meeting and Ukraine's president pleaded for international help. The nature of the explosions was not immediately clear, but the blast came amid signs that the capital and largest Ukrainian city was increasingly threatened following a day of fighting that left more than 100 Ukrainians dead. Well, this was all about the top 10 news of the day. Stay with us. We shall bring you top 10 news every day. This is Aparna Sundar reporting for iScope Media.